Five Nights at Freddy's Ultimate Custom Night. Chica is William! Let me get into that. Let's start off with a little short summaries. You guys are going to hear how stupidly I sum up things. Okay, so the cutscenes that we get with Chica, her high school cutscene stuff. Foxy's hook is in Chick's bag. Freddy is the first victim. She needed help with homework, and then she will have him forever. Foxy, Hook, and Freddy hat in her bag. Wolf is next victim. Tell Wolf someone ran over his dog in front of her house. Warm cookies to lure him or invite him. Then, Toy Bonnie is next victim. Told him her house is on fire, and she threw herself onto the flames because, yeah, that would make him fall in love. Very weird. Mangle is then the next victim. Then and then tell him that she's taken several hostages, but she let them go because she loves him. The puppet is the next victim. Told him to come over. If he doesn't show up, she'll go to his house. If he doesn't open the door, she'll find a window. A chimney is also an option. Or she could just set the house on fire and wait for him to run out. No. Big Patch is the next victim. Wait for him after school, throw a bag over his head, hit him with a shovel, drag back to a car when he wakes up, tell that somebody was trying to still kidnap him, and kill him, and probably Balloon Boy. Yeah, so that's the summary of all the cutscenes that you get. So let's dig into each one. Okay, so you guys need to excuse me. My recording software is a little bit screwy because I don't have a microphone. So I'm going to be doing this. When you see the cutscenes of Chica, you would see there is this one that they start off with. And she is standing in front of the locker number 15. Number 14 is slanted. Falls into the 14th theory. I will put it on screen who came up with the 14th theory. And in a way, I do agree with that. But if you look 13, 14, 15, the three important characters in the entire series, the puppet, Golden Freddy, and Springtrap. Now, Golden Freddy is the slanted 14, and he is slanted. So, interesting. 13, puppet. 15, Afton. But then, I noticed this. I haven't seen anyone bring this up. If you see here, by the biology class and the lockers next to it, it's 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. These are 18, 19, and 20. These are Afton-made animatronics. It is confirmed that Balloon Boy is kind of canon as an Afton creation. And the Nightmare animatronics that we get in F4 were created as hallucinations by Afton to scare the kids. And biology, interesting, get to that now, but 21 and 22 are these two. They are technically one in the same. They are Golden Freddy or the Vengeful Spirit, just one in a more nightmarish form, and this is just Golden Freddy as Fredbear. Golden Freddy can take on multiple forms, and what I did say in my UCN video is that it is the Vengeful Spirit that is literally just taking on multiple forms in order to torture Mr. Afton there. But the fun part here with biology is, part of biology is how something can affect the brain. And would you know it, in the trilogy books, in the Twisted Ones, the Twisted Ones, you get this as the very first intro to the entire book. And now I grabbed this out of the graphic novel because it's just a lot more better for me. So we learn how our eyes can't always be trusted and how they fill in blanks. Some of that can play into biology. Biology also hallucinations. Hallucinations created by William Afton. Therefore, the nightmare animatronics that was made by Afton, that kind of includes it. But I love how they placed that right in the middle between these links. So now we get this scene right after the biology door, where we can see Foxy's hook inside Chica's bag. And now what I find interesting, and you guys will soon understand this, Foxy. What other edition of Foxy do we get besides F1 and F2? Help Wanted, Grim Foxy. Where does Grim Foxy appear? Inside the corn maze. The corn maze is part of what? Fall Fest. What character was canonically proven to be at Fall Fest? Fiona. What character did Fiona create? Foxy. And now, Foxy doesn't doesn't get tricked by the mask, because Fiona was right, meaning that she knew a lot more than she let on. So Foxy, knowing that the mask is a fake, yes, there is logical, scientific, technological evidence that can actually explain why he doesn't fall for the mask, but I like how it stays similar to Fiona's knowledge and ability to know things. So she doesn't fall for William's fake appearance, the mask he puts on. And Fiona was right, meaning that she knew everything. And that's where we get the go, go, go minigame. Foxy knows about William that ended up killing the children. He's always hiding and lurking around the corner, and we see him running. Where else do we see him running? Corn maze. A Fall Fest event. Foxy's hook is the first one. Who was the first to die in the timeline? Fiona! So this one might seem a little bit all over the place, but the first victim that we do see that Chica goes for is Freddy. And not Toy Freddy, like most of the other characters in the cutscenes are. This is the original Freddy Fazbear. And we see her get him, and via the top hat. And now what she says, I told him that I needed help with my homework. But once he's there, I'll have him. And once I have him, he'll be mine forever. Would you also look at this? Via Willie A, to keep you as a lead engineer. They want to keep him. And they already have their land. Now, who? His land. He needs to be kept as a lead engineer. Would you look at that? What did he create? Proto-Freddy's. The first Freddy's. And who asked him to help with that? Fazbear Entertainment. Who was more in charge of Fazbear Entertainment? Willie A. So, this is Edwin. Freddy is a representation of Edwin. Just like Foxy would be the representation for Fiona, because she was the first. The second one to go was Edwin. And so the next victim of Chica is a wolf character, the Twisted Wolf from the trilogy. But I don't think it's necessarily the wolf from the trilogy books, because what other wolf character do we see? Roxanne. Her first edition is this version of her. Now, before we move on to everything else, let's just check how she brought him. I told him that someone ran over his dog in front of my house, but once he's there, I'll entice him with warm cookies, lure him inside, invite him inside. So, the fun part is, we know William would lure the kids. So why that is specifically there, I find it very interesting. And warm cookies. Why do you need warm cookies if it's just not meant to be for a kid? Because a kid will, of course, fall for something sweet and delicious. And now the run over part. Yes, the dog part can connect to this little mini game, but I don't think this is relevant in the entire context, so just ignore that. We do learn that David was ran over, but through one of the stories that we can read in Nixie, the sixth book. We learn that David ended up being ran over by a truck, and William lures kids, and the wolf connecting to Roxanne connecting to the very first edition. Where do we see the first version of Roxy being used? As a puppet to try and entertain David. So the connection between them would be strong enough to say that Foxy represents Fiona, Freddy represents Edwin, and the wolf represents David. All in order. Okay, so this one is a bit of a stretch, but I told him that the house was on fire, but once he was there, I tell him that I threw myself on the flames to put them out. He'll be so impressed, he'll fall for me immediately. Now, what I think this with the toy Bonnie could represent is that William did create the toy animatronics. As we see in the second movie, he created the toy animatronics, and they are the version 3s. They are in his workshop. We can see it in the film and the behind the scenes. So, toy animatronics being William, of course the connection there. Where do we see in F2, Night 1, we learn that the previous employee, the night guard, got sent to the day shift because he reported something happening. They didn't immediately believe him, and So again, with the fire, it sounds a little bit unbelievable, but yeah, they didn't immediately believe him. Later on in Night 5, we get that we need to be careful, especially about previous employees. Now, both of these link up to be events that lead up to this newspaper clipping that we see in F1, where a suspect was convicted, but no bodies were found. So it could be what I believe happened here is because there were no bodies found, William got set free. But William couldn't have been the previous guard because he was the one who created them, so why would he be playing as the night guard? It gets a little bit sketchy, but the link still is there. He created the animatronics. He was found suspicious of something probably, and just nobody could find evidence of what he was doing, so he got left, and he probably played it off as just, I don't know, mysteries happening. Because they do say something's going on outside the building, and he was probably playing into that. So, but the link still stands. William and the toy animatronics. And this entire speech feels to me that it links up with the F1 phone guy dialogue. And the F1 phone guy dialogue links up with the newspaper clipping. This one gets a little tricky as well, but stay with me, please. Toy Toy Foxy. Yeah, that character. I told him that I've taken several hostages at my house, but once he's there, I tell him that I let them go because I love him. I love how she said love him. And why Toy Mangle? It comes back to why I believe Nightmare Mangle replaces Nightmare Foxy in the F4 game, the Halloween update. It's because Mangle. In F2, we learn that the staff literally had to put Foxy back together again after every shift, so eventually they stopped trying and they left him as a take apart and put back together again attraction. Now, he's just a mess of parts. I think the employees refer to him as just the Mangle. He's just a mess of parts. The remnants of all the trauma that ended up accumulating. Because I believe Michael, after what he did, we know that he is like he's Foxy. I can't get the word now, but Michael knew what his dad was doing. His dad was kidnapping kids and he was kind of helping. We do see in the second movie, we learn Michael Afton was helping his dad, continuing his work. And now I believe that was actually just like him being mind manipulated into doing stuff for his dad because he probably felt guilty for what he did. So he knew what his dad was doing, and his dad said that, yeah, he'll probably stop and let everything go because he loves him. We all know that even in Yandere chicken mode here, he doesn't really love anyone because it's William Afton. He's a troll. So him letting go of all the hostages, it never happened. But Michael knows about the hostages. He was helping his dad. And him being replaced by Mangle, a very good representation of him being left in the condition that his dad caused him to be in. Unrepairable, unfixable, and just unmanageable, but he's still functional. Represented by Michael being a living corpse at this stage. So Mangle replacing Foxy is just this guy, Michael, and his dad. Now with the puppet, I believe this is a very good representation of don't read between the lines. Just follow the order of the story and the hint of what is mentioned. Don't read it as a direct thing. So here, when she is talking about the puppet, I told him to come over later. That should be enough. And if he doesn't show up, I'll go to his house. And if he doesn't open the door, I'll find a window. Chimney is always an option. Or I could set the house on fire and wait for him to run out. Then he could run into my arms. Now, puppet. We know this is linked to this. This happens right after this. So, Midnight Motorist, where do you go when you go in the secret screen? You find a house with a locked door and a broken window. So, this is the direct afterplay of everything that happened. The puppet does come after William, that ended up using his son, punishing him. He now works for his father, and his father kills her. Though the puppet does be mentioned to be a male in the game, I don't really think gender is a specific thing that we need to worry about. But having this play out after Michael's story, Mangle, can show the timeline when everything took place. And yeah, who was first and who was last. I find Pigpatch to be a very, very interesting and suitable character to be the very last victim. Here, where she says, look at that snout. Looks ain't everything. He'll be mine at the end of the day. And you know what? I'll just kidnap him, put him in the car, and tell him it was somebody else. Da-da-da-da-da. So it's just full of excuses while still taking over him. But Pigpatch, part of the Mediocre Melodies that were created by Edwin originally, then stolen by Stan's budget tech, sold in Pizzeria Simulator. In the simulator, all those characters end up re-showing up here as actual enemies, and Pigpatch, part of them. But in UCN, what is his dialogue lines that we get when we get jump scared by him? I consider it a dignified death. Not really, it was actually quite pathetic. And the banjo tune. If you sit by the river long enough, you'll see the body of your enemy float by. Even monkeys fall from trees. The nail that sticks out gets hammered down. A talented hawk hides his claws. All of these are just snarky remarks towards Afton and his inevitable failure. So I like that Pigpatch, the character part of the original creator that William ended up ruining, now coming back to hunt him with snarky remarks, and also being the very last victim, showing his inevitable downfall. Got kidnapped and killed. Maybe Balloon Boy. Balloon Boy being a confirmed William Afton creation. Just little hints that it's William's downfall. So in the end, when she says, Dear Diary, things didn't work out as I hoped. And once again, I am left with nothing but a broken heart. But tomorrow is another day. And I just know there's a guy out there that's right for me. And what character do we know that likes to use people and figure out which one is right for them? And later on finding someone that is right for them. But this just links up perfectly. So if I had to sum everything up, it would basically look like this. It is Foxy who got killed off camera and stuffed into the bag. We do not see or hear much about what actually happened to Fiona at Fallfest. We just know that she died. And here, we just know that Foxy got stuffed. So, Foxy, she is the first character to die and is proven to be the first death in the entire series. Who caused it? We don't know, but we do know that it was involved with William, because William was at Fallfest and all that, so yeah, Fiona and Foxy. The next is Edwin with Freddy. Edwin being commissioned to create Proto-Freddy's for William, or Fazbear Entertainment more correctly, and his connection to Freddy's will then be explained why the original Freddy is used here and not toy Freddy, because there is no red cheek here. Why the wolf is used is because we do know that Fiona died. Edwin lost his mind, created tech. Fazbear Entertainment wanted that. William ended up manipulating Edwin by killing his son. And the wolf ran over, kid in the story ran over. I do like that little similarities there, though it's not 100% one-to-one. The fact that there are similarities and they do somewhat stay consistent through stories, that is a point that we can focus on. Though the stories aren't one-to-one, there are details that still stand out, like ran over. There is some car running over something. That still counts. With Toy Bonnie, I put Fazbear Entertainment here because William is known to manipulate and deceive, to lie about something. So the story about Chica saying her house is on fire and she put herself onto the fire to put it out and all that, that is just a lie. That is a way to climb the ladder and manipulate in order to have control. Fazbear Entertainment, he knows a lot more what's going on here. He can use everything, and he's literally using Fazbear Entertainment property to do all his dirty work. So, why Bonnie and him, Fazbear Entertainment, is connected? Because it does make sense why this would take place before Michael. Michael ends up helping his father, and being left in the decayed and shattered mind, traumatized mind that he is, makes sense why he would be Mangle. Mangle known to be taken apart and put back together again and left in a very disheveled state. And then after that would be the puppet. After that, of course, we know William ends up just being in an internal torture cycle. So, why I believe Pig Patch is a beautiful representation for the very last victim is because it is full circle. It comes full circle. Because you see who's the first ones here? This guy. What did this guy make? This guy. This guy ends up being William's worst freaking enemy. Like, this is the conclusion for the high school cutscene. Let's do a summary of the other one. Now, moving on to the Bear of Vengeance intermission scenes that we get. I liked this one and the Mangle one specifically, because we know, as we can notice the symbols there in the background. Now, I referenced them towards something real and I couldn't find anything. But when I threw it into ChatGPT, yes, sometimes I use AI. Go cry about it if you have a problem with this. So I asked AI, can you translate the symbols in the back? I only gave him a screenshot of symbols only. And here it says that they do not represent any consistent writing system. They are more stylized glyphs made to look realistic, or occult rather than linguistic correct. They said, that said, they clearly borrow from real-world visual languages. So, even borrowing from something real-world, I find this quite interesting. The center symbol, the hashtag that we see there above his head, the big red mark in the middle strongly resembles, oh my soul, a crossbar sigil. Commonly symbolic meaning, binding, containment, mark of a seal, a ward or do not pass symbol. Okay, so let's get some context. Many people think that the Bear of Vengeance is either the vengeful spirit against Afton or Henry against Afton, which would make sense, because in each case, Foxy is Afton. Now, with that said, The left vertical symbols, these wonderful ones over there, the left vertical symbols, these resemble distorted Japanese kana kanji-like strokes, but they do not form readable Japanese. Visually, they echo. It's not 100%. They just echo. Like, it's not the real thing. Prisoner, seal, forbidden. Symbolic translation, intent not literal. Bound, imprisoned, marked. William. The right symbols, these are more angular and rune-like, closer to Pseudo-Norse, I'm butchering that, or demonic script. Visually suggests warning glyphs, identification marks, ownership, or designation text. Symbolic translation, subject, entity, designation, or do not release. Overall, just ignore that, that's part of my book. So overall, the translation meaning combined, putting all these together, the intended readable message is essentially sealed entity, do not release. Bound subject under containment. What entity ends up being contained or sealed away? But William. And now, what does Mangle do? And what does he say? Well, if we go check it out, here is the proper quote. Brilliant. Can I come down now? I really need to go to the bathroom. So, I believe, I'm saying so a lot. I'm sorry, but also not sorry. Why Mangle asks if he can come down now, because he needs to go pee. Why does he need to ask permission for Foxy? Why is Mangle in the dojo? Well, just further proving my point that Michael worked with William. Michael knew what William was doing. Michael was under William's control and has to ask permission just to do something off his own. Kinda would make sense if your dad would control every single aspect of your life. Why? Well, there's a whole bunch of things that I can think of. Why? Number one being the bite. But yeah. So, Mangle being with Foxy in the dojo. Just proving the point that those two are related. Michael was associated. Yes, that's the word. I think. Michael is usually associated with Foxy. And Foxy being replaced by Mangle would kind of make him Mangle as well. And we know that most of the theories would say that Bear of Vengeance is about Henry or the Vengeful Spirit against William. Who was working with William? Michael. Michael kinda... He feels like he doesn't really want to be there, but he doesn't have much of a choice. He's just like there because, well, he's ordered to. And Foxy is out for just being an absolute menace. And the symbols behind his head, that AI would describe it as a sealed entity. Someone in a cage. Trapped. Now, what did Henry end up planning for William? To trap him. To cage him. To lock him away and stop him forever. So, all of this just plays incredibly well, proving my point that William was in control of Michael. Michael, Mangle, Foxy, being all the same character. and he's trying to now fix everything. The cage, again, also another thing, the whole cage thing. This is William's eternal torture. We are still talking about UCN, stuff that has happened in UCN. So that being there, it's a cage. It's eternal. It is trapping an entity. I love that. I can't get over the fact that AI detected that. I couldn't come up with it myself, so I'm giving credit to where it is due. AI, if you have a problem with that, not my problem. Oh yeah, I can't forget. Foxy knew that Freddy was going to attack. If we go to Pizza Simulator's dialogue, where Scraptrap talks, one of his dialogue speeches is, "What a deceptive calling. I knew it was a lie the moment I heard it, obviously, but it is intriguing nonetheless." I found that interesting when I now looked back at it, because this is the last time he does say something, saying, kind of. Sorry about that. My mom just came home. So, where was I? Oh yeah, the dialogue that Scraptrap says. We know in the intermission of Bear of Vengeance, Foxy is aware that Freddy will attack. He knows it, and he still allows it. He wants the bear to come. He wants to see what will happen. And in Pizzeria Simulator, he knew this was a trap, but he still wanted to see what happened. I thought that just lines up strangely well. Knowing, being aware of what's going on, what it is, but still wanting to continue seeing how it plays out. So, to get to get everything summed up now, and why I think this is a brilliant way of Scott helping us understand what the actual timeline is having Mangle in both intermission scenes. Mangle being the replacement for Foxy in F4, and Foxy being a representation of Michael being associated of being Foxy Bro, and it just links up nice. So Mangle will be Michael, and having Mangle after Toy Bonnie and before the puppet places Michael being under William's control and having to do what his father tells him to do, placed right between those two other characters, would kind of fall nicely in line of the events. I do not believe Charlie died way before. I believe she died. The Charlie 87 theory, 87 theory that there is, I believe that can kind of help, is kind of true, but I'm still going to put my own work on it. But I do like that theory where Charlie could have died last in the series. Michael ends up still being under his father's control, working to get the endos from the animatronics, tampering with them, collecting parts, and then getting fired because he's now tampering with stuff that his father ended up creating or contaminated. And that's where the odor thing, why he gets fired for odor, because he's now tampering with animatronics that smell, that have dead, rotting bodies in them, and that smell would stick onto him, and people won't like that, so he gets fired. Why would he be willingly tampering with them? Unless he was given an order to collect something for his dad. Because later, after F1, Springtrap happens. Let me rephrase that. After F1, William destroys the F1 animatronics and melts down their endoskeletons. I will get into that in the next video for Help Wanted, because it is very relatable there. So he melts them down, all the parts that he has collected, and afterwards he gets killed. So we know that parts were collected, but he couldn't have done it himself, because in Pizzeria Simulator we see that he has been banned from coming to a specific location, Juniors, which a lot of people would think is F2's location. So yeah. I'm blanking out now. Michael helped his dad. His dad is an entity that is now trapped, caged. Hence, Foxy. And Mangle's weirdness of being placed in each intermission, and the way he talks to Foxy, and why he's also the only other character shown in The Bear of Vengeance. But Chica's high school years being placed after William's control and manipulation of Fazbear Entertainment, and before his last victim, Charlie. I like that Mangle is placed between those, showing us that Michael's control and probably his freedom of his father was placed before the last victim of William, and then boom, William's gone, dead, trapped, tortured by Big Patch representation. That was my completion of the Ultimate Custom Night video. I am sick, guys. Please forgive me. So, if you guys like this video and hopefully you understand everything. I'm so sick. I probably forgot most of the stuff that I went over today, so I'm recording this in one shot. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Press that subscribe button and that like button. Give it a little because I've been doing it alone too much. So until the next one, comment down below what other theories you have about Ultimate Custom Night, because this is what I came up with, what I understand, and what I noticed from everything. I hope you guys like it. I'm going to repeat that over and over and over and over and over again. Good God. Bye. I'm going to go to bed now.